My ex-advisor plagiarized my work, so I exposed her and that cost her job. The initial reason for the revenge happened in 2013, but the revenge only happened in 2017. I'll keep everything vague as not to be recognized. For context, back in 2013 I was a graduate student pursuing my master's degree. That was my last year in the program. We had 24 months to finish all the work and the dissertation. My advisor was professor who was very well known and experienced on my field of work. Let's call her Janet, fake name. Janet and I had worked together with research since my college days as I became part of an undergraduate research with her. At that point we had been working for about 4 years, and as any advisor-student relationship we more had our disagreements quite often. Janet was used to doing her experiments a certain, archaic, way. I knew there were better uses of our grants money and always tried to push toward a more advanced method, especially correlating data collection and statistics. However, our relationship was always good. I knew her husband and had been to her house numerous times. She was a little set on her ways, but we managed to make good progress on our field. Anyhow, by the end of 2013, I presented my dissertation to the department and was approved with flying colors. My data still wasn't published in any paper as I wanted to have more analysis in different areas to make a more robust and better paper. With that said, my dissertation was published, and by all reasons that is my work and my experiments. After I got my MS, I decided to pursue a PhD. While I was still going to work in the same field, I wanted to use different techniques and thus talked with Janet about going to pursue a PhD under a different professor in another university. She always encouraged me to do better and look for ways to diversify my views. I went ahead and contacted a professor outside my country in another university to pursue my PhD. I got approved and soon moved away. For the next 2 years I still kept contact with Janet, but on the third she stopped responding. Initially I thought she had changed her email or something, but didn't think much of it. Time flew by, and in 2017, while reading papers and writing my own, I came across a paper that was strangely similar with my research. Interested in it, I opened it up to read. For my shock, it was a paper by my ex-advisor. She was up as advisor and another guy, who from his curriculum is her current master's student. Reading the title, I thought, hey, that's neat. She continued researching it. But boy, I was wrong. Reading the paper, I got increasingly angry. That wasn't new research. It was my research. My data was all in that paper, even my graphs and tables. Initially I thought, oh well, she's also an author and if she is citing it, there shouldn't be a problem. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. My name was nowhere near that paper as they claimed that researcher's original. Now, I was livid. I sent an email to Janet confronting her, which was never replied to. However, I am not a pushover and will never allow people to claim my own work as theirs. She made a mistake by using my data. I'm a researcher and I keep everything I ever worked on saved in external SSDs, encrypted and on my own possession. All catalogued with date entries, and even had my own dissertation to prove my work. In my country, research is financed by the governmental grants. I wrote an email to the dean of the grants institution, explaining all the situation, with proof of everything. I also sent an email to journal in which that was published contesting their paper and explaining everything. It didn't take longer than 15 days for me to get a follow-up. The institution responsible for the grant was furious. They cut all financial aid for her and her student, and made a formal requirement to the university requesting her immediate termination. The journal retracted the paper and is now suing her for plagiarism. Now, after all these years, I learned that she was indeed fired and haven't been able to work in the field ever since. I never met her again and have no intention of ever doing so. Now, my work is published and I'm recognized by my contributions in the field. Maybe that was a petty thing to do, but I couldn't allow people to get away with claiming my work as theirs. Edit. Wow, didn't expect so many replies. Thank you for the words. A few things. The only reason I said it was petty is because since she is also an author, she has the right to publish it. But she needed to include me on the paper, which she didn't do. Also, there are laws in place on my country that allow the journal to sue her. This is not an international journal, that's why that happened. I work with medical research for those that asked. But I can't share the paper as that would easily identify me. Another thing, people have been questioning my terms. On my country, A master's candidate needs to present a dissertation and a PhD candidate needs to present a thesis. Sorry if I wasn't clear enough. Cheers. Now to the comments. That's not petty at all. What she did was outright theft. It's not pro either. It's the obvious thing to do in OP's situation. And not really revenge either. Unless you'd also consider calling the cops on someone stealing your car. Revenge. It is what you should do. Pro-revenge isn't nuclear revenge. OP took this as far as it had to go to make things right, and maintain composure like a professional. That's pro-revenge. Maybe that was a petty thing to do. No, that was a major transgression the professor did. I don't get why she didn't think you would find out and be able to prove it was your material. She sounds flaky. Definitely not petty. Research plagiarism is a major no-no. The professor deserved to be sacked for so blatantly ripping off your work. Definitely flaky. And OP was willing to let it all slide if she was credited once. That's very forgiving. As another academic, early career no less, good for you. Some of the duckery the senior staff get away with is jaw-dropping. But she didn't get away with it. That's the entire point. OP laid the smackdown on her. Highly doubt this was the first time she pulled this off. Too many times a professor has tossed aside their student and stole research. You did the right thing. This is so true. It wasn't petty and it was her responsibility for both knowing the consequences of her actions and doing it. I'm glad you were able to easily prove your case. It not only flaky but monumentally stupid. You wouldn't read other papers in your own field? Notice your own research when you ultimately see it? She seemed to just think that since you weren't her student anymore that you no longer exist. She took the easy path but it ended off a cliff. Not at all petty. Thanks for helping keep academia honest. Rock on with your bad self. I had a cruddy undergraduate paper plagiarized and I complained to my professor and the ombudsman office and nothing happened. That was 25 years ago and I'm still pissed about it. I applaud your pro-revenge. Plagiarism is not a joke. You use your own time doing it and some will just claim it as their own. Just pathetic. I'm glad about the result of this revenge. This has got to be the best and most satisfying pro-revenge story I've ever read. All consequences were well deserved, your rightfully published work, and her losing her job for stealing your work. Well done. This is perfect example of see ya, cover your ass. All the documentation didn't just get revenge but you covered your ass and got proper recognition. She straight stole your work in a field where the greatest sin possible is straight stealing someone's work. She got what she deserved. It would have been so easy for her to do anything that was related but original. Not petty. I used to deal with undergrad plagiarism cases from time to time, and my institution took it very seriously. The first repeat offense meant expulsion. The first repeat offense. Does this mean the second offense? I'm sorry, this lingo has thrown me. Yes, but repeating the same mistake, offenses can happen for anything. Things like this is good because they mostly stay on the down low. People get away with it. Not petty. That was your work and you are entitled to the fruits of your work. The only thing she had to do was include you. How shameful. I am glad that you were able to get justice. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, smile. Professor Janet, you've just won an extended holiday. 2 ways this isn't petty. 1. What she did was awful. There is a reason that she was punished and blacklisted, because no one wants to work with someone that steals people's work. It also prevents brilliant people from publishing or working hard if they know someone can just steal it. 2. It was not petty, this was a holy firebomb you lit under her. But she's the one that put it there. You basically exposed the shit she did. I'm being careful to say you did this because you didn't. She chose to not cite you, she chose to steal. This was a conscious decision, and I'm sure that she had multiple opportunities to stop and say, hey, I don't think I should do this, but didn't. We don't feel bad when going to cops when someone steals property or money, because those impact people's lives too, nor do we, or should, blame ourselves for people's choices. This all OP did was show what her actions were. Those institutions decided how they wanted to punish the professor.